Hello, Earthlings. It's time to reset your cultural dial. Coming your way next on your favorite device, from the Hoosier State to all the ships at sea, it's the Crawfordsville Peachcast. And now, here's your second or third favorite Dave from Indiana, Dave Peach. Warning, other people named Dave may also appear.
Thanks, CD, and we welcome you to the Crawfordsville Peachcast. I'm Dave Peach.
I'm Dave Meyer. Dave Peach. See, what do you think about CD?
CD is from Canada.
She's Canada.
I believe she's from Toronto, and
a professional.
I feel a little bad about the World Series and all that. I know they were all excited there in Toronto.
She sounded cheerful, though, Dave. She's a professional.
Even though she
may be suffering based on this emotional gut punch. Dave, that happened at I don't know what Canada time, 3, 4 in the morning. It was hard.
Tough weekend for baseball in Canada. Baseball north of the border.
Yes.
But today, our movie is, we move on. We got to move on.
Yes.
Today, the movie, Mr. Saturday Night, Billy Crystal, movie number 72, season 4 of Untoasted, 1992. This is in that Entertainment Weekly era of entertainment.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I think this was in, Billy Crystal's had an incredibly long, successful career, but this felt like a real good sweet zone for him. This was, and this is when the movies, you were going to see romantic comedies, you were going to see action movies, you were going to see funny movies, and Billy Crystal was funny. So this was his kind of, I guess, comedic, serious directorial debut. So if you don't like this movie, Billy would be the guy to talk to.
Billy, directorial debut. Billy Crystal plays Buddy Young Jr. David Paymer plays Stan, his brother. David Paymer was in the movie Quiz Show. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
And David Paymer was nominated for a Best Supporting Actor role at the Oscars.
He's good, Dave. I mean, we're going to talk about that, but he is very good, so he was very deserving.
You are where you are because of who you are. That was maybe the go-to, maybe the key line of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Julie Warner, you're acquainted with Julie Warner. Elaine?
Yes, Julie Warner, Dave. I think of her again during this time period. Doc Hollywood. Remember Michael J. Fox gets stranded? Yeah, she is like the kind of the conscious of the town and also his love interest. And I forget it seems like there were maybe another movie or two like this that she was in. And she was kind of, I don't know, she never really became like a big name kind of actor during this time, but it feels like she was in a bunch of stuff.
She's kind of got that Hallmark movie look. She
does. Very nice smile, like a picture of innocence. I'd say later projected Pam Beasley from The Office.
Girl Next Door.
Girl
Next Door.
Yeah.
Helen Hunt, Annie Wells. Was this before, after, or during Mad About You?
My guess is either before or during. Right before or during, Dave. We'll get the crack research staff on.
I've got that in one of these books. Maybe we can
one of those files, Dave.
Maybe while you're going on one of those 2-minute talks, I can look it up.
Okay.
Central Indiana Rubber Products provides the power for you. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, keeps farm equipment and local manufacturing processes running with gaskets, belts, seals, and O-rings, among a variety of other products and services. Employee-owned and always customer-focused. Central Indiana Rubber Products, 989 West, 83 North, Crawfordsville, and at indianarubber.com. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, power for you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
See what I did there?
kids.
See, I might just throw in these lines from the movie, just, like, see what I did there.
Because you can.
Because I can, and they may be like, okay, what did that really mean? But the you are where you are because of who you are, and see what I did there, those figure prominently in this movie.
It works, Dave. And I want to say, Mad About You, 7 seasons beginning in 1992. So during the math here, I'd say Helen had not yet started. If it came out in 92, she probably made the movie in 91. So Billy got a good deal on her before she was more famous. Mary
Mara played Susan, the daughter, and Jerry Orbach, who was in Law and Order, as I understand, along with the Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner,
Dave.
The Beauty and the Beast. Well, we got to finish that. The movie Dirty Dancing.
Dave's had the time of his life.
Phil Gussman. He was only in a couple of scenes, but they did figure prominently.
He was seemed like the big New York agent who at one point Buddy was feeling like was going to help him, and then Buddy, eventually that leads us to the Helen Hunt character, which anyway, it's Dave. This is not a quick watch.
No, this it was 2 hours.
Yeah.
We also had Ron Silver as Larry Meyerson.
Ooh, he was good, Dave.
Yeah, Ron Silver always. And the announcer, don't call him Don Pardo, call him Bill Wendell, Letterman's guy.
Yeah.
He was the announcer for the show, the Buddy Young Jr. show, whatever that was called, the Coleman's Comedy Hour or something like that.
Big Chief Cigarettes. Dave,
yes, Big Chief
one of the big
Cigarettes.
sponsors.
I never didn't see that brand. I don't know.
No, that was good. No, Bill Wendell. Yeah, my first thought when I heard him was that's Don Pardo, and then I go, no, it's not.
David
because I looked at him.
Letterman.
Exactly, Dave, and I think back to Wendell. He made the transition from NBC to CBS, but then he retired, or he got retired. We never know how these things happen, Dave. Pretty soon after, I think it seems like he didn't go too far into the Letterman CBS tour.
Here we go. Paymer got the Best Supporting Actor nomination, and here's my thought. I had a thought. I wrote it down.
Sure, Dave.
The Academy, more than occasionally, throws a bone at a movie they feel tried hard and failed or was underappreciated because it did not hit a cultural nerve, allowing for it to be successful.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think Billy was hot at this time, so there were a lot. I mean, first of all, this movie made money. Right? So
its budget
it didn't.
Its budget was 43. It made 23.
Oh, Dave!
Unless you can
prove
me wrong, I looked that up.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah,
it didn't make any money. $43 million. That's a lot of.
Billy got a big budget.
That's
Dave.
a lot of costumes and a lot of.
Well, I wonder too because I felt like he was like.
They should get a refund on the makeup.
Right.
I'm sorry. That was so bad. That's terrible. That was one of the issues I had, especially Elaine's older makeup. I thought that was pretty hideous.
They gave her jowls.
I don't know. Yeah,
Dave.
It didn't look like she aged. It looks like she just grew some skin around her chin line. I don't know. I didn't get it.
It was not a. Yeah, I don't.
We're jumping around here. But
we are.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started,
folks. Call back. He told
what I
you
did
about
there?
these. They're coming.
Hurt them. And the other jacket is funnier.
Yeah, I like that though. Wear the bigger jacket.
Did I say this is 1992 and Mr. Saturday Night is movie 72, and we are in season 4 of Untoasted. And
all
the
those
Crawfordsville
facts,
Peach
Dave.
cast. That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Dave, he was 43 years old when he made this.
Wow, and the budget was 43. Billy Crystal was?
Yes.
Wow. Now, as is the case often, I asked David, what did they expect this movie to make at the box office? I mean, they're not flying planes in the military.
Yeah.
They're not on some ranch, like the whatever. What is the one I'm thinking about? City Slickers.
Right.
It's not a ribald comedy. This isn't Animal House or Porky's or anything like that. I mean, so where did they expect this thing to land? as far as the box office goes.
This is where I think they greenlit this on Billy's going to be funny. It's going to be a funny movie. But this is a dark character. I mean, if you look at the poster, it's got Billy with this smile.
It's not a comedy. It's a drama. It's a drama.
Yeah. But I think they thought so. But the tagline on the poster is, "It's lonely in the middle." So that doesn't inspire many, I think, potential moviegoers to go, man, I got to go see that. I mean, it's like, you're like, what's Billy Crystal going to do? I can probably wait till it comes out on video.
It's almost, and I think we did.
Yeah.
We do have to mention, we did get a cameo from Jerry Lewis in the movie.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that scene because they were, I wonder if they just were kind of riffing around, but Jerry was, it was young Jerry, or it felt like before Jerry got kind of old and a little more resentful. He seemed in a good space.
Yeah. Now, we take a look at the plot, and this is kind of where I hand it over to you. And I'll do some work around the office here while you go. I'm just kidding. See what I did there, folks? No, I listen intently.
Yes.
I listen intently as Dave goes over the plot. Now, it's a little. We talked about jumping around. This movie jumps around. We go from current to middle-aged to young, and it kind of moves around. You have to pay attention to where they actually are in their life. But it's a current movie that they're old. In the current time of the movie, they're old. They flash back to middle age, and they flash back to the younger age. So I don't know how you tackle the movie plot, because eventually in your mind, when you're thinking about it, you kind of put it in chronological order.
Right.
At least I did.
Yes. No, It's okay. First of all, the movie.
Yeah, I can
really...
take your call. Dave's just talking. See what I did there?
Okay, I'll give the basics. Okay, so Buddy Young Jr. is like a Catskills comic. So he's a Jewish comedian who came out of like basically the early days of television. He basically had come out of almost like a vaudeville background, or this Catskill kind of circuit background that he first honed at his home with his brother. And really, that's the central relationship that we deal with. Even though Buddy has a wife and a daughter, and there's aspects to both those relationships that are shown in the movie, really the central relationship this guy has was with his brother. And you see his brother as a decent human being who becomes his manager and kind of looks out for him and kind of basically tries to steer him, even though this guy is his own force of nature. So Buddy is this guy, and what we see is Buddy's career. And so, present day, you can tell Buddy's not, he's not huge, right? So you come back to learn that Buddy's big break at one point was he was going to be on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he was following the Beatles, which
I would have gone a different way. I didn't like that. I thought it was too. It was too. I think of the word contrived. It was just too. It was too. I don't want to say obvious. What word am I looking for? It just didn't really land. It was too. I didn't buy it. I wasn't.
It felt
I wasn't
forced.
Buying it. Yeah, it was.
It was forced in the middle.
And the thing of it is, if you followed the Beatles, I don't know who followed the Beatles, but they should wear that on a T-shirt. They should put that on a billboard. I mean, that is something that would be funny to relate.
Right.
I mean, if you actually were the act that was after the Beatles, my goodness, you could write a book. You could. I mean, there's any number of things that you could have capitalized on that. I don't think that would have been a bad thing, but did to go out there and act like a horse's patoot after, I don't think that would have been a good move. But let's hope the person that did follow the Beatles didn't do that, but we don't know their name, so apparently they didn't do anything.
Well, Dave, I got to tell you, the crack research staff was listening.
Here we go.
They were listening, and here's what they're telling you. They turned this up. Dave, a million years, you and I, maybe you would. I'm saying I wouldn't have guessed this, Dave.
Was it a comedian?
No.
Okay.
Magician Fred Capps. Okay. So they had a commercial break, and then Capps came out after the set. And then after that, they had Charlie Brill and Mitzi McCall, comedy team. And then I think they bought the Beatles back after that to do another song before people. But you can imagine it was probably pretty hard. The Magician's probably a pretty good idea, right? Because you're not, you can maybe settle them down with a little sleight of hand confusion. But Dave, I got to believe nobody was settling down.
No, but it would have been just something fun to talk about later. But I don't think it would have been a negative. Let me put it this way. I don't think it would have been a negative if you were the comedy. Charlie Brill and who was it? Mitzi Gaynor or something like that?
It was something like that.
They're okay. Don't worry about it.
Handed that back from the crack research.
So that was early, but he rallied after that to get a show.
He rallies after that. He gets a show. He gets a sponsored show. So he's like, it's a big variety show. And that's part of, I'd say, where the $43 million budget went to some of these, because there are the big scenes that show like the size of the cast and the behind the scenes and all that stuff. So it presents him to be like, at this time, because this was the era of Sid Caesar, Your Show of Shows, and Milton Berle. So, he was, they were positioning that in that era. And then they show, and then this whole thing happens where they put, in the summer, they put Davy Crockett up against him, and their numbers start to fall. And then basically, from there, what does he do? He basically does what he does throughout his career, which is he basically doesn't get what he wants or doesn't get the recognition or adulation he desires. So he blames somebody or sets something on fire figuratively. So that's kind of it's kind of a sad tale about a funny, kind of unhappy Don Rickles kind of comedian who in the end can't get out of his own way, even though he's beloved by, his family, by, lots of different people.
Well, he mistreated his family.
Oh, yeah.
On stage and off stage, but not in a violent way or anything like that. It was more of a, used his family as punchlines, and his brother was kind of his gopher, and I don't know, their relationship was complicated. His brother was part of the act, and then he at one point looked at his brother and said, "You were living room funny."
Right.
Which is about as insulting as you can get as far as...
It is.
That is a very... like I said, he wasn't violent against... it wasn't violent, but that was very hurtful.
Yeah, no, that's the hard thing about why did people not go see this movie, Dave? Well, I'm sure word of mouth wasn't good.
That's right. And he kind of along the way, he becomes a has-been.
Yeah. And he's playing basically places that he thinks are below him. And then at one point, which happens to any artist at some point, basically, they basically said, we're looking for somebody younger, and then that kind of is a catalyst for him finding new representation, and that's where we meet Jerry Orbach, and that's how we connect to Helen Hunt. And you hope, Dave, that this, I don't know, this a bit of love and light coming his way, that he's able to process that and reflect it in some kind of positive way But what happens, Dave?
Well, at a moment when you're looking for him to embrace his second act,
yes,
and take his brother off the hook for sabotaging his career, and I could have been bigger without if I had a different agent or something like that. I mean, he again refuses to accept help.
Right.
He has many opportunities that are presented to him during the second act of his career, and he proceeds to, as you say, set fire to them, refuse them, cop an attitude about them, and never really takes a spot or he never really is what you would call a good person to work with.
Right. No.
I mean, you think about Helen Hunt. I mean, here's a guy supposedly 70 years old at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just say he's 70.
Sure.
I mean, he's got Helen Hunt hanging out, trying to help him.
Being nice to him.
You would think that might warm the cockles of his heart, but it did not. The cockles were still cold.
Yes, Dave, and he has with the cold cockles. There's some funny lines.
Put that on a T-shirt, okay?
I mean, one of my favorite early, Dave, and I won't go into the details. Is by the way, Moses called.
Oh yeah. By the way,
and then another one, Dave. I'll just in that same zone that did give me chuckle. Fred, what's the deal with your blanking hair?
Oh yeah. You had me fooled.
Oh, Dave.
Yes,
Dave,
you had
Dave.
me fooled.
Oh my goodness! But I try to find like David Paymer is good in this movie. A lot of people are good in this movie. Billy Crystal's good in this movie. He has to be because Billy Crystal is one of the most likable performers that you'll ever come across. I actually was in New York for work and saw him perform his 700 Sundays show on Broadway, where it's him basically talking through his growing up and spending time with his father. His father was in show business, was a manager and owned a record store with brothers. And so a lot of this stuff is kind of like the growing up part of he and his brother. There's some autobiographical stuff in that.
We had more cameos. We had Carl Ballantine, Slappy White, and Jackie Gale.
Yes, those
at
were
the
all
Friars Club.
Yeah, at the Friars Club, which again, I think the real place. They shot in there. So a lot of locations, a lot of new. Here's my other theory, Dave. I believe that they shot at the Ed Sullivan Theater because this was pre-Letterman, and it looked pretty, pretty old, not redone.
The problems with the movie that I see, I mean, Siskel and Ebert gave it thumbs up. Kind of, they were complimentary of the movie. They did not like the happy ending at the end, where they didn't like that. It
does feel it felt incongruent because
Gene Siskel was upset with that. I get it's one of those two guys.
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
No, part of me feels
it was one of those two guys.
Well, it was one of those guys.
Yeah, it was one of those movie
It was either
guys,
the guy with the glasses or the guy,
the taller guy.
The taller guy. But the thing about it is it didn't stay true to it, and it almost felt like a little bow. Like when I watched that, I feel like, they did a test audience deal and said, you gotta turn it up a little at the end, okay? Just a little. Will you give us a little? Because I don't know, but I will say this: did you know that they did a musical? Billy pulled this back in. And a few years ago...
Not another musical. What was that one movie that you said was going to be... Tucker was going to be a musical, yeah.
Tucker was going to be a musical, but no. They made a musical of Mr. Saturday Night and put it on Broadway. I believe in 2024, had a certain amount of performances, and I think it was considered, successful. They asked him, what did you learn between the movie and the play? And he says, in the musical, Buddy wins in the end. he doesn't really in the movie. He patches things up with his daughter. The show starts with a defeated soul looking into a mirror, not liking what he's seeing. It ends with a man who likes what he's seeing, and that's the journey. Never too late to find things out about yourself. Don't give in. So, but that was not this movie. That was how they tweaked it for the musical to, I think, bring him into light earlier because he stayed in the dark, Dave, every chance he got. So when you had that thing at the very end, you're like, really?
You know, here's my problem list.
Yes, Dave.
Not relatable at its core.
Well, well, you're right, narrow because it is a very.
I wasn't a comedian.
Well, Hebrew
how do I relate
comedian.
to? I can relate to the guy going in City Slickers. You know, I can relate to the guy that has to go to the ranch to find himself in City Slickers. I can't find myself in this character. It's a
no.
I can think of some people that I've known because we're in radio and all
Sure.
that. I can think of the brother of the big time announcer who's a little bit bitter. I can see that.
Sure.
But I can't relate to this movie per se. I didn't. You look at some of the, like, let's take Kevin Costner in Tin Cup. I mean, I can relate to that guy.
Sure.
I can relate to that guy. And the way that it ended was to me perfect. But anyway, to me, it was not relatable.
No, and that's, a lot of things. It's a narrow scope. This guy is never grateful for his success. It's hard to love a protagonist or even follow a protagonist. Treats his family like, not that great. He treats he makes fun of his mom, it's just, there's a place for this guy, but he doesn't, I don't find anything redeemable about him other than the fact he's funny.
You got that? We'll put, and there's just too many one-liners.
Yeah, that's his
I thought I was watching Elvira at some point. I mean, you're trying too hard. We could have taken out maybe 27% of the liners because, for one, they weren't that funny, and two, It just became too much. It kind of got in the way of it got in the way of character development.
Yeah, no. I wrote down he poops on Stan a lot, and that sounds like a line from South Park. But Dave, I wrote down this: movies about unhappy people have to offer something else that makes the first thing less. Otherwise, you're spending 2 hours watching a story about somebody you don't like.
That's right. Did you write that down?
We got nothing.
Can you text that
nothing
to me?
made him curious.
No.
Nothing, this is where, if you watch The Sopranos or Breaking, there's a lot of instances now where our protagonist is not a good person necessarily, but there are reasons of either attraction or curiosity or drama, which you follow them because it's like a bargain. You see them as they are, but there's something about them that you're willing to follow where they're going to go.
Well, let's go with JR and Joan Collins.
Right, exactly. Going way back. So, exactly. So it's that journey. But Buddy Young Jr. did not have any of that, Dave.
No, none of that. And the movie was too long.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yes. It felt longer than it was.
It rallied a little bit at the end, but it was way too long. And the makeup was really bad, I thought.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I noticed it more on her than him because it felt like they were, like, in my mind, it's like she's so purely attractive at that point that they, like, okay, we got to turn her into like Aunt B. Okay.
Couldn't they do it just with the hair or just make the hair gray?
I don't know. But Billy looked like the pancake was a bit heavy, like you could scrape and you'd have a peanut butter sized nugget. I don't know, Dave, but yeah, you want to feel like for that budget, Dave, they could have done a little better.
Okay, it's a drama about a comedian, and it did make use of the clarinet, which is kind of I call it a forgotten instrument. I mean, you think about saxophone, trumpets, drums, and maybe even flutes. But outside of "Heaven Can Wait" with Warren Beatty, the clarinet is often ignored when it comes to movie soundtracks.
I think so. I think you got like the Benny Goodman story.
They did put a lot of Benny Goodman songs in this bad boy.
Yeah. No, it does, I think, because of kind of that guy's way of thinking, that kind of music, that kind of show business, because this guy was of the old era of that.
We did have that kind of part in the movie where, and we see this in real life, it's the kind of the Hey 19, that's Aretha Franklin from our good friends at Steely Dan, where initially Helen Hunt doesn't know the comedians that Buddy Young is referencing. It's the core of a generation battle. Young people don't know Johnny Carson. Older people now don't know, is it Chappell Roan? Did I get that right?
Chappell Roan. Yes,
yeah.
Dave.
Younger people, you're old and out of touch. Older people, you don't appreciate the people who blazed the trail. Wax nostalgic versus just a fad. And that was the core of Mr. Saturday Night. Billy C. as Buddy, Helen Hunt as Annie Wells. But Annie eventually came around and said, hey, now I know these people.
Yeah, no, she did her homework. She didn't have to do that. I honestly, if you were a real person like her, maybe you would have done that. Maybe you would have said, no, this guy's not going to be a good bit of our time. So it's a good little spin there, because at that point, we're, as the audience, first of all, you're tired of the movie a little bit. You're tired of Buddy, right? So she brings some redeeming, like, hey, like almost like I'm giving you respect for this, which lights his fire. And then there's this possibility of more or another opportunity. And then he does the same thing again. And which really leads us to, if there's a good part to this movie, it's those scenes, between Paymer and Billy Crystal after that, where they're kind of fighting, and then they basically, say all the stuff they need to say at that moment.
What does it all mean, Dave?
Well, for me, it means I don't want to be old and unhappy, even in a movie. Not in real life, not in a movie.
You don't even want to watch it.
Don't want to watch it, Dave. It's not a look. It's a hard game for everybody. And if you got a chance to live some of this and entertain people and make them laugh, you better love that, baby.
Billy Crystal, David Paymer, Julie Warner, Helen Hunt, and Jerry Orbach, Ron Silver, Bill Wendell, Mr. Saturday Night, 1992, movie number 72. We've got one more movie in season 4. Can you believe it? It is
it's flown by, Dave.
It is
I've already
Grand
been thinking
Canyon.
about
Grand
Canyon.
You've been thinking about the watch list,
the draft,
the draft, which will be early 2026. Yeah, I'm
going to get ready.
I just remembered one I got to add to the watch list. Bonus coverage for you folks.
Okay,
cool.
Rollerball.
Jonathan.
James Caan.
Yeah, Jimmy Caan. So next up, actually the last one, season 4, it is Grand Canyon, not the university.
No.
In Arizona, Phoenix. Yeah,
yes.
It's Grand Canyon. It is Grand Canyon, the movie with Steve Martin.
Steve Martin, got a good cast. Kevin Kline. Danny Glover is in this. I don't know how many movies after this Lawrence Kasdan directed. So Lawrence Kasdan, who directed The Big Chill, and he also did a Western, Silverado. But after that, I think people probably know him best for, he wrote, I think, the original Star Wars, and he wrote, I think, even the last couple of movies, the last couple of Star Wars movies. So he's probably as well known as a writer as a director, and this was kind of a different movie. So,
what are we getting into? Comedy, drama?
Yeah, both, Dave. It's I I'm trying to think what at the time. My first thought in my head would be, it's an interesting story. And it's one of those that I've seen one time, and I feel like I was positively affected by it. And now I want to, look at it at this point in time, because it's been over 20 years, I'm sure, since I watched it. And I didn't see it in the theater. It was one of those, I was a rental. So again, because I don't think and that may have not had anything to do with anything. It may have been the fact that it didn't make any money. So, or stay at the theater very long. So I'm curious about the whole thing. It does have a little bit of a baseball tie-in too.
91. It was made in 1991. Grand Canyon coming up next on Untoasted, the season 4 finale. We're on Podbean.com.
It's one of the most fun things to say that I say, Dave, podbean.com.
CrawfordsvillePeachcast.podbean.com. Like, share, and subscribe. We're on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Always my pleasure, Dave.
Until next time, America, for Dave Meyer, I'm Dave Peach. Thanks for listening to the Crawfordsville Peachcast.
Thank you for listening to the Crawfordsville Peachcast. If you enjoyed it, follow the podcast and ring the bell so that way you'll always be up to date with the newest episodes. We'll see you next time.